G'day guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitars Ready Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play White Christmas by Bing Crosby, which is a great holiday tune, a little bit irrelevant for those of us who live in Australia and the Southern Hemisphere, but nevertheless, it's a great Christmas tune. For the basics, we'll need our guitar in standard tuning and a capo on the second fret of our guitar. In this particular lesson, an arrangement of mine, I'll also teach you how to play a simple guitar solo for the instrumental section. If you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarsreadyhero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you're fairly new to guitar and you're looking to build a strong, solid foundation, but you don't know where to start, then be sure to check out the Guitars Ready Hero Premium course and membership, which gives you all the guidance to play with confidence. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Let's jump into the lesson. Okay, so let's start with the lead-in lick. Now this isn't necessary to learn at all, but I think it's a nice way to start off the song. So you can skip this if you'd like. To play this lead-in lick, we're going to play a shape like this. So index finger barring across the third frets of the first and second string, and our middle finger just on the fourth fret of the third string. We're going to strum these three higher strings. Then with your pinky finger, go up to the fifth fret of the first string. And then we're going to go down to an A minor 7 chord shape like this. So index finger just on the first fret of the second string and middle finger on the second fret of the fourth string. We're going to strum from the fourth string onwards. And then with your pinky finger, go on the third fret of the first string. Now all these plucks are on the beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. To end this, we'll go to a D7 chord shape. So just keep your index finger where it is and put your middle and ring fingers onto the second frets of the third and first strings. We're going to strum from the fourth string onwards. And that's the end of our intro lick, which sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we get to the main part of the song, the first verse. Now, in terms of strumming pattern, what we're going to use is something really simple. It's just an eighth note strumming pattern that goes down, 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 up, down, up. Now, I want to note that we're going to be using some swing feel here. Now, what swing feel means is that our downstrokes are held out a little longer than the upstrokes. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Notice the length of those downstrokes. They are longer than the upstrokes, which are a little bit quicker. That's the swing feel, which differs to straight feel, which would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, where everything's equal. When we apply this to the strumming pattern, it will sound like this. Down, 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 up, down, up. Or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm going to use that throughout the rest of this song, but feel free to experiment with the strumming pattern. You could just use a constant down up strumming pattern, or you could use the one that I suggested, or anything in between that, as long as it fits within the eighth note framework that you see below. Now there's 4 lines of chords here for the first verse. We're going to start with the G chord shape, and that's going to be played for 2 bars of music. Then we'll go to an A minor 7 chord shape, so that's the same as an A minor, but we're going to have our ring finger lifted, and we're going to strum from the 5th string onwards. Now, to avoid having the 6th string ringing out, you could use your thumb to reach over the top and lightly touch that 6th string. It doesn't need to fret that string down, but as long as you lightly touch it, then it's going to be muted, and even if you strum all the strings, only the ones you want to ring out are going to ring out. Then we go to a D7, so keep your index finger where it is and just move your middle and ring fingers down to those second frets. And we're going to strum from the 4th string onwards. Now it's really important with the D7 that you definitely don't let that 6th string ring out. So that's where muting with your thumb is really important. If you happen to hit the 5th string, that's not so bad, but just try to focus from the 4th string onwards. So the first line of chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for the second line of chords, we go back to our A minor 7 for 1 full bar. For the second bar, we go to a C chord. So from our A minor 7, we're just placing our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. And then we're going to a D7. Now those 2 chords are contained within the 1 bar of music. So we're going to mix things up a little bit. Each of those chords, the C and the D7, is just going to be played for a down, down, up. So we change in the 3 beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then back to our G chord for 2 bars of music. So the second line of chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. For the third line of chords, we stay on the G chord for 1 bar of music, and then we go to a G7. So from this G chord shape, we just lift our ring finger and move that up to the 3rd fret of the 4th strings. and that's our G7. Play that for 1 bar of music, then we go to a C chord, then after the C chord we play a C minor add 9. So from the C chord, keep your ring finger where it is, move your index finger up to the 1st fret of the 4th string, and pinky finger will go onto the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Now we just want to focus on those middle 4 strings there with this chord shape. The 3rd line of chords, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And for the 4th line of chords, it's G, then E minor, and then A minor 7 and D7 for 1 bar of music each. That's it for the verse chord progression, which will sound like this in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Next we get to the verse variation, which is used in verse number 2. It's very similar to verse number 1, the only thing that changes is the final line of chords. So for the final line of chords, the first 4 chords are the same as the chords in the regular verse. So G, E minor, A minor 7, and D7. However, all those chords are shortened in length, so they're now all half a bar. And as such, we're going to change up the strumming pattern a little bit for them. So for each of those chords, it's just going to be strummed with a down, down, up. And the changes occur on the 3 beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and then we go back to a G chord for 2 bars of music. And that's it for verse variation, which is used for verse 2, but I'm also going to use it as the rhythm part for the solo section in my particular, and it'll sound like this in total. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So after verse number 2, which uses the verse variation chord progression, I'll jump into a solo section. I'll teach you that solo later on in the video. But in terms of rhythm, we're going to use that same chord progression in verse number 2. Then there's verse number 3, which is the same as verse number 1. So nothing new to learn there. And then finally the outro, which is similar to verse variation. So the 4th line of chords, we have G and E minor contained within 1 bar. But here we're not going to implement a strumming pattern. We're just going to strum each chord and hold it out for its respective length. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then we go to A minor 7. But here we're going to play it for a full length and hold it out a little bit. And then D7 for a full bar as well. And then end the song on a G. And it will sound like this, the final line of chords in the outro. Christmases be right. So it's a beautiful and slow way to end the song. That's it for the outro. Again, it's very similar to verse variation, just that final line of chords is altered a tiny bit. So now I'll teach you a nice little guitar solo that I've come up with this particular arrangement. And we're going to play this after verse number 2. So we're going to start up here at the 9th fret relative to the capo on the 4th string. And I'm going to play that with my middle finger. Now, if you're playing this without a capo, you just take everything that you see down below in the tab and add 2 frets to it. So it says 9th fret down here, but if you're playing without a capo, it's technically the 11th fret. But everything you see in the tab below is in reference to the capo on 2nd fret. So we're gonna play that and hold out for a full bar. For the second bar, we go up to 10th fret and back down to the 9th fret on the end beat. So 1 and 2 and 3. On the end beat after the 3, we go down to the 8th fret, then up to 9th fret, and then up to the 10th fret. So a chromatic run there. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... That 10th fret note is held all the way through the 3rd bar. And then for the 4th bar of music, we go up to the 6th fret of the 3rd string, and then up to the 7th fret. And in total, the first line of tab. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. For the second line of tab, we're going to go up to the 9th fret of the 3rd string with our ring finger, and then 7th fret of the 2nd string with our index, and then up to the 8th fret. So those are 3 notes there, and that's played on the 3 beat. So 1 and 2 and... Then we go up to the 10th fret relative to the capo with our pinky, back down to 8th fret, then down to the 7th fret, and then hammer on, pull off. And that hammer on, pull off. Then after that, 9th fret with the 3rd string and down to the 7th fret. And that second bar in total. That 7th fret note is held out through the 3rd bar and for the start of the 4th bar. For the end of the 4th bar, we're going to slide up to the 7th fret of the 1st string, like that. And that's it for the second line of tab, which will sound like this. 1, 2, and... For the start of the 3rd line of tab, we're going to slide up to the 8th fret of the 2nd string, similar to what we did with that 7th fret note previously. And then after that, we'll slide up to the 7th fret of the 3rd string. And from the slide of the second line of tab at the end, then we'll slide up to the 9th fret of the 4th string. And I'm going to use my middle finger here. Now when you're sliding up to those notes, you can slide 1 fret below, or you can slide 2 frets below, or all the way down here. It doesn't really matter, it's kind of up to you, but make sure you slide up to that target note as quickly as possible. Then we'll move down to 7th fret, 5th fret, then with your ring and pinky finger, go on to the 5th frets of the 3rd and 2nd, and index on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. So strike those strings, and then we're going to pluck 2nd, 3rd at the very end. And then for the 4th bar, lift your pinky finger, and your index finger will now bar across the 3rd frets of the 1st and 2nd string. Keep your ring finger where it is on that 5th fret. And then to end this 3rd line of tab, go 5th fret of the 4th string, 7th fret, and slide up to 9th. And in total, from the final bar of the 2nd line of tab. So after that slide up to the 9th fret, we hold that into the 1st bar. On the 3 beat of that 1st bar, we'll pluck that 9th fret one more time. And then for the 2nd bar, we're going to hit the 7th fret of the 3rd string, hammer on to 9th, go down to the 5th fret of the 4th string twice, then 7th fret, pluck it one more time, and pull off to the 5th fret. And from the end of the 3rd line of tab. Then we're going to end with this lick, which is quite fun. We're going to slide up to the 7th and 8th frets of the 1st and 2nd string. You're going to play that with your index and middle finger. And I strike that with a down, up. Then we move down to 5th and 7th fret with our index and ring. And I'm going to strike this with a down, up, Then we'll shift this shape down 2 frets with another down, up. Keep your ring finger where it is. We're going to put our middle finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, hit that on the 4 beat, and then end in this position 3rd fret and 4th fret of the 2nd and 3rd string. And that's the final lick. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And that's it for this solo, which sounds like this in total. And that's all there is to learn for my particular arrangement of this song. Now, in terms of structure, we have our lead in, which is of course optional. Then there's verse 1, verse 2, which is the verse variation chord progression. Then the solo instrumental section, and that's again the same verse variation chord progression. Then there's verse 3, which is the same as verse number 1, and then the outro. So now I'll be doing a full playthrough of the song, and I'll have a vocal track on top for some context. Big thanks to my friend Eric for lending his awesome vocals to this playthrough. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go.
And
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.